half the goal of this for me was to try to find that same joy of making music for the sake of making music instead of it being a job or with a specific goal in mind of, you know, this is what they want. You know, I'm going to make music that I like, that is in my head or whatever, or see what comes out. And that's where you make your best work. You know, you do music for you that you're happy with, and hopefully other people like it. I've been doing this so long, and it's been so much about trying to please clients or artists that I'm working with, or fitting, especially people that want to fit into the radio and want to fit into a certain marketable place. Then, you know, it's not as much room for creativity and exploring things like that.
And on the seventh day, Fingazz took it back to the beginning.
Wait, so whenever you started making music, were you using a computer?
They didn't have the computers like they do now. If you wanted to have a whole arrangement like this, you'd have to use a multi-track with one synth and have a big multi-track tape deck.
Yep.
Or multiple synths, and you could MIDI them up. MIDI was out. And you could have a hardware sequencer. First thing I had was a Roland Juno 2, and that was the only synth I had. So I had a little 4-track tape player, eventually got a little cheap Fostex or something, 4-track tape deck. And if you wanted to layer parts, you'd have to be rebouncing on like 3 tracks to 1. We do everything in mono. Like I'd have a drum machine on the side, so you'd lay down a drum beat. I think I would make that stereo and then add like a bass line, and then I could bounce those 3, and I could add some more chords and layers. Then you'd have to bounce the first bounce, blended right with the other 2, and leave 1 track and then bounce those to 1. Everything's just getting mashed together.
Right,
if you mess up one of those bounces, you're stuck with it.
Yeah,
because you have to destroy the other tracks to like open shit up. So it's cool for writing, but I mean you can't do anything professional. But you know, I was just a little kid, so it was cool at the time. I mean, I could sing ideas over top on the last track, and I'd write songs. I mean, I was writing songs pretty young, and that's pretty much all you had. And eventually, fast forward, the very first Mac that came out, and it was a big thing. You know, old school joint with the handle, the little mini screen. Had one of those.
Oh my God.
Got kind of the hand-me-down, because that was not a new computer at the time. They had the 512. Basically, it really didn't do much.
Yeah.
And when a sequencer software came out called Master Tracks Pro, and back then it wasn't a DAW, it wasn't recording digital audio, so it didn't really have to be a powerful computer. All I needed to do was deal with those little MIDI messages that were coming in from the keyboards and drum machines, and then arrange them like I'm doing when I'm creating the same technology as now. You just couldn't record audio into the thing. If you wanted it all to play at once, you'd have to have a drum machine. You'd have to have a synth. You'd have to have another couple synths so that one could play the bass line, one could play chords.
All
and
hardware
lead.
instruments.
Hardware. Yeah, everything would have to be MIDI.
Kind of like this, what you're doing.
Kind of, yeah, exactly. But the thing is, now we have these plugins that have multiple. And if you remember, like a lot of the workstation keyboards eventually had 16 MIDI channels, right? You've seen those.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing that came out by Roland that basically invented, if I'm not mistaken, what they call standard MIDI. Standard MIDI was 16 instruments playing from one device with different sounds, and the drums were always on channel 10. Roland created that with a little box. It was just a little tabletop box called an MT32. And then when I was able to get one of those, it was mind-blowing, because you're like, whoa, I could play 16 different sounds out of this little box at once with my sequencer. Like a whole orchestration. It just seemed like the world is my oyster now, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I was able to do really big orchestrations. This is the actual Oberheim, collaborated with Dave Smith and made this to reissue that official, you know, Oberheim synth sound and bring it back.
So that's a synth. Yeah.
This is a synth module. I don't need the keys. I just control it with the controller over here. But this kind of music this is what I bought it for, because I'm into that sound. I wanted to have some very authentic tones to it. So this will be fun today. And plus it's kind of chill. I'm in that kind of zone. So I'm gonna listen to a few of these, get inspired, and then crank this bad boy up and get some 80s drums cooking. Spark is a vintage drum machine emulator. So when you want something like what I'm looking for, like an old funk DNX drum machine.
Do you notice a difference between, I want to hear these versus the addictive drums?
Well, we'll pull both up, because there's some that this does better and there's some that does better. See, we put that long, wet reverb on this stuff. Cool about this, yeah, you just tweak it till you get the sound the way you like it. I want a little more of a bell. So it resolves, and we literally go back to the beginning of that, and everything just builds.
Music is literally a reflection of the
total, like, yeah, and then the song can be just kind of like take shit back to basics, or like it could be a relationship where it's like remember why we fell in love, or it could be just society.
Yep. Anything.
But like that's
anything goes.
That's a crazy concept.
Yeah.
Back to the beginning, and like the song keeps building.
Like you think outside of the box a lot. Like you like to go outside of the norm, and like that R&B fashion. Sometimes it sounds jazzy.
I just always listen to a really wide array of music.
Yeah, dude.
So it's like I like Stevie Wonder, the places he goes and the chords, and then the notes, the way they work with it. I like those things. There's those moments that I love from everything. You know, when I was a kid, I liked this group Duran Duran. Very, very, very creative chord changes and amazing melodies, and I have no idea what they're saying. A little British accent. Their lyrics made no fucking sense.
Cool.
But there was something magic about the arrangements. I mean, it was crazy. Here we go. Let's kill it. Lost in a world gone crazy. Told you to my mind. Let me take you back to the beginning, and let me take you back to the beginning. Let me take you back.